So a little bit of a hip class. Let's start off in a cross-legged pose and change the cross. So whichever way you've slipped into as being the most comfortable way, the most natural feel, change it around and do it the other way, please. And then let's have a bit of a wiggle. So taking one shoulder down, just dropping that elbow down, hands on your knees, and then lifting that shoulder back up towards your ear and dropping the other one down. So like a nice little seesaw with the shoulders, and then taking that into the spine. So you feel like you're curving your whole spine round, and then coming back to the midline and then going over to the other side. You start to think about your breath. Dip your head as well when you come round. It's a nice side warm up for the spine and a bit of a move into the shoulders. One more. And then come back to center. And then let's go forward. So moving forward, using your hands here just as a little bit of a balance or a comfort really, and then leaning back. So when you lean back, that's when you need to use your hands really. You're going to be holding onto your knees, leaning back, keeping your knees down. Don't let your knees follow you. And there's a nice stretch there in the arms. So let go of the arms, let go of any muscles holding on. So stretching and opening up in the elbows and the shoulders. Leaning right back, putting some strain into the arms, and then coming forward, and then leaning forward as far forward as you can go. A little bit of a warm up in the hips. So we're going to do a real hip practice today. Hip hop, hippity hippity hop. Backwards again. Really feel that in the elbows. Leaning back, taking the back of your head backwards. A little bit of balance here. Don't let yourself roll over. And then coming forward one last time. Forward as far as you can. Dropping your head this time. Bring your chin to your chest. Stretching out along the whole of your back. And then coming back up to center. A little bit of warm up. Taking your head now so that your right ear comes to your right shoulder. Everything else staying the same. So this time shoulders stay where they were. Just dipping your right ear down towards your right shoulder. Left ear up towards the ceiling. And then back to neutral and over to the other side again. So shoulders soft and relaxed if you can. Hands relaxed. And coming back to center. Lift the crown of your head up towards the ceiling a little more. Let's lengthen in the spine. And then one more time, we're coming right ear to right shoulder. Lovely stretch. In the side of your neck. And then coming back to center and over to the other side. And coming back to center again. So we're going to do a little bit of breath work together. So we're going to inhale. So exhale to start. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. One last time. Inhale. And exhale. We're moving body with the breath now, so taking your hands out to the sides, palms of your hands facing upwards, and stretch your fingertips out now as far as you can. Long, long arms. Crown of the head lifted up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to exhale to lift the arms. So we'll start here. Exhale first. Inhale. And then exhale to squish that air up above you. Turn the palms out and what am I doing here? Inhale, sorry. That's right. Hard to exhale when you've already exhaled. And then exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Turn the palms. Inhale. One last one. Exhale. Turn the palms. Inhale. Just doing that a little differently today. So we're going to take the right hand now over to the left knee. Still keep that spine upright. Crown of the head lifted up and then opening out. Let's go into a little bit of a twist. So sometimes if you're holding onto that knee, you don't get quite as much purchase. But if you put the back of your hand on the top of your thigh, you can use a lot more muscles in the arms and get a little bit more of a twist. And don't forget that we want to be turning around, turning with the head, turning with the eyes, just trying to get a glimpse of whatever it is that's just out of view behind you. Remember to breathe really hard, to do big deep breaths here. So don't worry about breathing shallowly, but don't hold your breath if you can help it. And release eyes, head, shoulders, arms, coming back to center. And then let's come over to the other side. So again, we're holding onto the knee. So left hand, right knee this time. And you might want to start off with holding and then turn the hand out if it works for you. So shoulders up nice and tall. Open up that right arm, right shoulder, nice and open before dropping the hand down. And then switch if you want to bring it out the top of your hand to the top of your right thigh and turn. And this is where we're bringing in the eyes, bringing in the head. Lovely twist in the belly. Great for your digestion, great for the gut. A little bit of a massage, let everything wake up and start moving. And release. Head first, and then everything else. So coming back to center, we're going to start moving. We're going to start moving the legs. So take the right leg out, take the left leg out. So here we are, starting in our hippie practice. So bottom of the legs on the mat if you can. And that might mean that you have to bring them back in a little, take them out, experiment with what works for you. So legs out to the sides and have a look and make sure that one isn't more into the middle than the other. I think my right leg was. So move. So push into the heel, lift your leg, and then pop it back down again. Same again on the other side. Pushing the heel down, lengthening the leg, and putting the whole of the back of your leg flat onto the mat. And now let's think about those sit bones dropping down into the mat, crown of the head lifting up, nice and tall. Take a breath here, and then on an exhale, we're going to slide the right hand down the right leg and let the left arm come up towards the ceiling. So a lovely gentle side bend. Think about squeezing those muscles in the right side. So bringing your rib cage down towards your hips. And then we're lengthening and opening up on the left. Nice big stretch there. If you feel like you are not twisting and you're not folding forwards or leaning backwards, you can add on here by taking your arm overhead and pointing over to the right side. If that takes you out of that nice straight position, come back. Better to have correct alignment than it is to go to the extreme point. soften in your hips, drop them down to the floor. And then we're going to lift back up. So lifting first to come out and then taking that left arm down. Same again on the other side. So first of all, make sure that you are centered. Crown of your head is lifted up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to slide down, left arm, left leg. Come down to as far as works for you. Think about squeezing into that left side now, opening up in the right. And then we're lifting that right arm up. Stretch up, up, up towards the ceiling. Lift fingertips up towards the ceiling, but right hip down on the ground. And then when you're all lovely and set up in this position, you can think about whether you want to take the arm over a little further, which will just give you a little bit more stretch in the right hip or around the right hip. Breathe. And then we're coming up, a little bit of a lift to come out, coming back again. So hands on your legs, the right hand, right leg, left hand, left leg, and then sliding forward. We're coming into a forward fold or a forward bend. So sending your chin out. So look forwards, send your chin ahead of you. And that should give you a nice big extra stretch. And your thighs start telling you that they have reached their limit. Hold there and take a few rounds of breath. In through the nostrils, out through the mouth. And throughout your practice today, try and bring your attention back to your breath at regular intervals. And make sure that you are breathing steady, deep, slow, beautiful, luxurious breaths. None of this shallow business. And then coming up, use to strengthen your legs to draw yourself all the way back up. Okay, so left leg stays where it is. Right leg is coming in. So bring that foot in towards you. And then you're going to hold your, right foot with left hand and right knee with right hand. And move your foot and your knee. So move the whole leg. And that's not coming from your leg. Try and make your leg be heavy and completely passive. And we're just moving gently into that hip socket. Well done. And then we're going to draw this knee up and bring it in. Lift that foot off the floor if you can. You might need to do a little bit of a lean back. That's fine. And then we're going to find our hold. So our hold will either be with the whole of your hand around, just wrapped around your foot, or the yoga hold, which is the first two fingers wrapped around your thumb with the thumb, wrapped around your toe with the thumb as a lock. And then the other option is to hold anywhere along your calf or shin. So we're going to just extend that leg, a little bit of balance. So maybe the left hand comes out for balance, or it's on your knee or on the floor beside you. Floor beside you is probably quite a good one, because then you can help get that back nice and straight and long, crown of the head lifted up towards the ceiling. And we're going to draw that right leg out just a little bit, out of the midline towards the side. And back. And back in. Well done. So we're folded over again. Enjoying that nice stretch in the hip. And then we're going to fold forward. So walking your hands forward. Thinking about that left knee not rising up off the floor. And then coming back to center, and we're swapping. So take the right leg out, left leg in. Set yourself up so you're comfortable. Imagine that you are trying to push your right foot away from you, so you've got lots of lovely length in that leg. And then we're going to hold. So left foot, right hand, left knee, left hand, and then just a gentle move. Just trying to move your femur into your hip socket, just gently backwards and forwards without getting any involvement from the leg muscles whatsoever, which is very hard because they always want to get involved. And then we're going to come into that hold. So whatever you did on the other side, try and do on this side. But if it doesn't quite work, don't worry, just adapt and go to what does work for you. So right hand onto the floor, I think that's probably the best for balance. And then we're extending out the left leg. So while you're extending out the left leg, it sometimes pulls that shoulder out of its socket. So gently draw back if you can. And then we're coming out to the side, back to center. It didn't hold very long. Let's go back out to the side of it. Hold. Quite good balance. You have to switch your core on here. And then come back to center. And then we're going to pull the knee in, hug that knee in. And then we're going to pop the leg back down on the floor. Folding forward. Extending your arms or having your hands on your legs, either way. And then coming back up to center, coming into Baddha Konasana. So both feet coming together, bound angle pose or cobbler pose. Up tall if you can. Think about that lower back being long and strong. And knees out to the sides, heels drawing in towards you. And let's butterfly a little bit. So let's make this dynamic. Moving the legs, moving the knees. We're doing lots of nice warm-up because at the end we'll come into our pigeon or a pigeon adaptation. So just a few more moments sitting on the floor, and then we're going to be coming up to standing. And here we go, stop. So extending and pushing into the stretch, leaning forward and easing off. And let's bring the breath into this. So as we come up, we breathe in, we've got lots of space. And as we fold forward, we breathe out. Let's breathe together in and out. And in and out. Last one. Inhaling in through your nostrils and exhaling. Back up to center. So we're going to come into a squat. So bringing yourself to squat, however works for you. Then find your balance. Find what's working. And you might be up on toes. Squats are very good for hips as well. And actually squats are where you sometimes start to notice getting a little inflexible. I'm certainly noticing that my squats are much harder work than they used to be. So the only solution there is to do more. So nice little balance in the squat. And then we're going to come up from here. We're coming up to standing. And we're going to come into our chair pose. So I'll stand sideways. Set your feet up nice and directly under your hips. Nice, good, strong mountain pose. Shoulders strong. Chest lifted. Chin slightly lifted. And then we're going to swoop the arms forward as we sit back. So sitting back in that imaginary chair, lifting your arms. So your arms are either side of your head, your upper arms. Sitting back in that imaginary chair, switching on all those lovely big muscles in your thighs, waking up the glutes. Keep your back flat-ish, so maybe tuck your hips under a little, and then coming back up to standing, arms coming back down, and then let's take the arms all the way up into a little bit of a back bend. So look up to your fingertips, raise your hands up towards the ceiling, and then take them back just beyond the midline. A little bit of a bend in the back. Send your sternum up towards the ceiling. So we're lovely and long in the front of the body. And then coming back to the midline and bringing your hands back down. We're going to come into Parigasana or gate posture. So come back into a squat, slowly down. And then we're taking the right leg out to the side. So we're still in our squat position on the left side, right leg out to the side. So the inner edge of your right foot will be resting on the floor. Send your toes pointing forwards and your heel pointing back. Think about sinking your hips. So we've got quite a big stretch in the right hip and a different kind of stretch in the left hip. So closing off circulation a little bit there. There'll be a really nice whoosh for the lymphatic system when we straighten our left leg. If this feels a little too strong, then you need to just come up a little, lift yourself up a little bit higher. And then let's swap. So we're going to bring that right leg in, bring your thigh directly in the middle of your chest, and then taking your left leg out. Toes pointing forwards, heels pointing backwards. And challenge your balance a little in this posture by taking your foot flat if you can. You maybe need to lean your hands forward to counterbalance, or you can be up on toes, and then you're going to be doing a nice stretch. Well, you'll be doing a nice stretch regardless of which way you choose. And then we are going to come back to center, bring that left leg in, and we're going to take the left knee down to the mat. So we're kneeling on the left leg, sit back on that heel, and take your right leg out to the side again. Quite a big stretch. If it feels very strong, you can lean over into the left side to take a little bit of the angle out of that stretch. Otherwise, coming up, and you might be able to slide the right hand down and do a little bit of a side bend. Do what works for you and keep breathing. Nice, slow, steady, measured breath throughout. A lot going on in this posture. And then coming back down. Let's come into a swap, taking the right knee under, left leg out to the side. And again, leaning over to the right if it feels too strong in that left hip. Otherwise, up tall, sliding the left hand down, bringing the right hand overhead. And then coming all the way back, swapping legs. This time we're coming up into a high kneel. So we're going to kneel onto just the left leg and take the right leg out. So gate pose. And again, this might be a little easier, might be harder. If it's all right for you, stay here. If you feel like you want to add on, then we stretch again. Lots of lovely side stretches. Really important when we're trying to look after our hips, to stretch all around, above, below, in, behind, and in the front. A nice side stretch here. Feeling that lift in that left hip, or the lift around it. And then coming back up, flipping over. Making sure that you are central to start. And then sliding a little bit down the left leg. Right arm coming up. And then let's come all the way back up, because we need to come into a nice few forward folds. So coming onto your knees, taking your hands down to the mat, into our tabletop position. We're going to come into down dog, but first of all, we'll do a couple of rounds of cat and cow just to ease the lower back. So sending your hips up, sending the back of your head towards the top of your back, taking your belly down into cow. And then rounding and curling to come into cat pose. So Chakravakasana is that lovely constant movement. Keep going at your own pace and use the breath if you can. So we exhale as you curl in, inhale as you curl up. And I'm talking about just your head here, curling in and opening up, inhaling. Move to the most that you can, and be very patient and kind and gentle with yourself. Each time you move, you're moving, which is great, but each time you move, you're warming everything up. You're making all those tiny little movements that remind all the parts of your body that they're needed and wanted and essential, and you want to keep using them. And then coming back, tucking your toes under, leaning, so sitting back towards your heels, pushing back, so we're opening up the soles of the feet here. And then releasing the feet, taking the knees wide. So take them almost to the edge of your mat. Bring your big toes to touch together, and then push yourself back gently, stretching your arms forward. Nice big opening up under the arms, bringing your forehead down towards the mat or resting on your mat if you can. And let go. Here we are in Balasana. Nice opportunity to relax and ease every muscle in the body. Let go. We are still on our way to downward facing dog. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. We're just taking a little bit of a rest stop on the way. And then lifting your head, looking forward. Coming back into our tabletop position, and then tucking your toes under and bringing yourself up into downward facing dog. So here we are. First downward facing dog. Walking your feet to the right position for you, about hip width apart, making sure that your hands are stretched out the whole of the flat of your hand pressing into the floor, and then pushing away from your hands so that you get a little bit more angle there, a little bit more crease in the hips, sending your sit bones up towards the ceiling. So we're lengthening out through the backs of the legs. Here, your head and your neck and your face are completely at rest. So if it's okay for you, for your balance, you can even close your eyes. Enjoy that feeling, that sensation in your face of improved blood flow, great circulation. And remembering to breathe. Slowing the breath right down. Well done. See if you can find a real peace in your Ardha Mukha Svasana today. Shoulders are wide. And then we're going to look forward. So look at your hands. We're going to lift the right leg up. So come into a three-legged dog. Right leg out behind you. See if you can turn your hips so that they stay where they were. Your right hip doesn't fly out. And then bringing your right knee in towards your chest, curling it in and kicking it forward to bring it between your hands. So your right foot is between your hands, left foot is back, and then we're coming up into a warrior one. You might need to turn your back foot into a 3/4 turn, or you can come up onto toes, whatever works best for you. Sinking your hips down towards the ground, taking your hands up towards the ceiling. Straighten your arms, make them very strong. You're a warrior. Make sure that left hip isn't poking back. You want your hips in line. Squeeze that left glute. See if you've got a little more room to sink a little lower. Lift your sternum so you've got that lovely length in the front of your body. And swooping your arms round, straightening your legs at the same time, coming to the center. And then we're going straight over to the other side. Just a little quick adjust there. Make sure that your feet have got a little distance between them so that you are not, you don't have both feet in the same line. And then coming around into your, if you're not already here, I stopped for a waffle, so you might already be here. Remember to get that length in the front of your body, lifting your chest, arms engaged, fingertips up towards the ceiling. A little bit of a lift in your chin. And well done. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Straightening both legs, coming to center, keeping your arms out wide. We're going to do a lovely little half fold, diving down, only halfway. So think about lifting your kneecaps here, a little bit of a bend in the knees. Crown of your head, shooting forwards, neck is long. So as we've got that nice fold in the hips, and we've got our legs wider, so thighs are having to do some work. We're also waking up the shoulders here by keeping the arms out. And then using the strength in your legs and not locking the legs, coming up to standing. So much easier when you lock the legs, so try not to lock them. Keeping your legs wide, we're going to come into our warrior two. So take your right toes towards the narrow end of your mat, trying not to let the hips go out of line. Taking your arms up nice and wide. Chin over to your right shoulder and then a bend in the right knee. And breathe. Think about how strong that right thigh is. Squeezing a little into your left glutes. Big turn with your head. So chin is definitely above that right shoulder. And then we're going to take the right hand up. Left hand comes back down. Pointing up towards the ceiling. Another nice big squeeze into that left hip, into the left side. And then lifting up to come out. Take your right arm to lean, and this always feels really lovely, to lean on that right thigh. You might be able to get the hips down a little lower, and then the left arm can come up and over. Lots of sidey, bendy stuff. We did all of this sitting down, didn't we? Well, not quite sitting down, but kneeling. And enjoy being in such a lovely posture. And then we're going to lift to come out. Legs straight. And this time, let's take hands to hips to come into Prasarita Padottanasana. Forward fold. Keep going all the way. Allowing your head and neck to just hang out. Completely relaxed. Again, a lovely inversion. And again, little reminder not to lock your legs. Tiny bend in the knees. And then taking your hands to the floor. And pushing into the floor with your hands. So let's wake up the wrists a little here. Press into your hands and press forwards. Taking the crown of your head forwards a little so you get a bit of a nice stretch in your wrists. And coming back all the way, standing up. And let's come over to our warrior two on the other side. So arms lovely and wide, shoulders are strong. Turn the left toes now to the narrow end of your mat. Hips stay in line with the long end of your mat. Chin over to your left shoulder. And then we're sliding forwards by bending the left knee. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm really starting to feel this in my hips. Stairs could be quite fun tomorrow. Well done. And then let's take that right arm back down, left arm up, pointing up towards the stars. Squeezing to your left side. Drop down a little if you can. And then coming back up to level, left arm down to left thigh, right arm overhead. Well done. Lifting to come out. Taking the legs a little closer together. Enough Prasarita Padottanasana. Rolling down. So make sure you've got enough space. You might have to change where you are on your mat. And then slowly, slowly walking forward. Coming into downward facing dog. So let's just have a rest here, a moment to catch your breath. Hips up towards the ceiling. Shoulders wide. And then taking your knees down towards the ground, up onto toes. Knees coming to the ground. A little bit of a hover. Hold here, switch on your core. Pull your belly button up towards your spine. Pull in everything around your pelvic floor. and knees to the mat. Take your feet flat to the floor and send yourself back into Balasana again. This time, taking your forehead down towards the mat, release your arms so that your hands are palms facing upwards by your feet. And breathe just into the sides of your body, into the back, up into your throat and neck, around your collarbones. Lovely, slow, relaxing breath. Closing your eyes, coming into very relaxed space just for a moment. And then we start to move again. So coming up to sitting, kneeling on your feet, just very briefly. We won't stay here very long. And taking your hands forward, taking your feet back, coming into a plank position. So find your plank, nice and strong. And then knees to the mat, bending just your elbows. So a little bit of a press up pose, bringing your chest and your chin down to the mat, bottom still up in the air, and then allowing your hips to come back down, releasing your feet. So the tops of your feet coming down, come down to the mat. And then we're going to press into the feet. We're coming into Bhujangasana. So Bhujangasana, we're switching on all the muscles in the back of the body, in the legs. So pressing the tops of your feet into the floor, squeezing the muscles in your calves, in your knees, in your thighs, in your hips, in your back. Lifting your chest off the floor. Gaze is forward. Try to keep the muscles in your back all switched on and engaged. And then bringing your hands into it. So bringing some pressure to bear into your hands. Taking the weight into your arms. And maybe straightening a little to come into a slightly bigger cobra. Sending your sternum forward. So we've got some nice lovely length in the front of the body as well. Allow your hips to be heavy and completely relaxed. Holding in cobra for a moment longer. And then gently lowering your body very slowly down to the mat. And we're coming to lie on our sides. So roll over to your right side. And you can either have your arms stretched out with your head resting on your arm. Or you can do what you like basically with your arm. Feel comfortable. We want to try and keep body in a straight line. Sometimes if you're up on this shoulder, it can feel a little bit too much. And you have to push that elbow down so that you don't have everything jammed quite so far up towards your ears. You've got some space. But it might be that you just want to extend and lie on that arm. We're going to be lifting the top leg. So we're not coming into a side plank. We're just going to do a little bit of warming the hips, working the hips. So left leg comes up and down. It's a very slow movement and continuous movement. So when you come back down, don't let your top leg rest on your bottom leg. It's just towards and away. Try and make sure that you're not lying with your bottom stuck out. You are all in a nice line. And let's go 3 more. 1, and 2, and 3. So we're going to flip to the other side. If you just want to roll over, go ahead and roll over. I'm going to stay so I can see you. So pushing down into that elbow or extending your arm out, but try not to collapse up into the shoulder here. Give a nice line if you can. So, gosh, I didn't count on the other side, but here we go. 1, and another one, and another one. See where you're feeling that. See if you can go a little further, if appropriate. But not resting when that top leg, the right leg comes down, just hovering. So we're keeping it active the whole time. Toes are pointing just forwards. If your leg is in a regular walking mode, not pointing the toes. Okay, let's go for 3 more. I think we might have done more on this side than the other side. 1, and 2, and 3. Well done. Bringing yourself round into sitting. Bringing your knees in. Grab hold of them and give them a squeeze. Well done. We're going to come into our hero pose. Not actually hero pose, Virasana, but our hero pose of this session, which is pigeon. So everything that we've been doing has been building up to giving you as much flexibility in pigeon as possible. But we'll go slowly into pigeon and we'll have some variations as well. So bringing yourself round into downward facing dog. Let's start from a down dog. So here we are in our Ardha Mukha Svanasana, down dog. Send your hips up towards the ceiling. Put your shoulders beautifully wide. Push into your hands, sending your hips up, high and away. And then let's look towards the hands. At the same time, lift the right leg back and fold it in. So your right knee is coming into your chest. We're up on toes on the left foot. Bringing your right foot towards your right hand. No, yes, right knee towards your left hand. Gosh, I said that all wrong. So we've got right foot, left hand, right knee, right hand. And then we're going to slide that back leg out even further behind. So we've got bent right leg. And we're pushing back into that right thigh. Ideally, you've got something to rest on. So if you've got yoga blocks, that's where you put a yoga block under your right thigh. You could also use a cushion or a rolled up blanket or towel. Or you can use your hands to support yourself so that you are gently sitting back into that hip, but not putting all of your weight in. If you're a happy pigeon person and you love pigeon, you can alternate between your positions here. You can take your hands forward onto the mat, or you can sit up higher, taking your right hand to your right knee, left hand to your right foot. Crikey. The rights and lefts are stumping me now. And breathe. So with pigeon, you're trying to relax the hips. You're putting them into this position that they're not normally in, and then you're asking them to ease and relax. Same with your shoulders, your arms. With every asana, you're trying to find your peace in the posture. Trying to get to the position that you can hold and relax in. And some are much easier than others. So let's tuck the toes. So we've got the left toes tucking, lifting the left leg, and then giving yourself space to slide your right leg out. This time we're coming into plank. So holding in plank for a moment. feeling the different sensations in your legs, different temperatures, different flow. And then coming up into down dog, sending your hips up. Just giving yourself enough space to lift that left leg, bring the left knee in, and then taking your left foot to your right hand, left knee to your left hand, and sliding the back leg out. So your right leg slides backwards. And breathe, relax your shoulders. And whatever you did on the other side, do on this side as well. So if you sat right up, do the same. If you folded forward, do the same. And breathe, taking your breath to all the places where you feel a little stuck, a little discomfort. If you're feeling pain, then pigeon is not for you. Come into an adaptation by taking perhaps yourself into a low lunge or a plank. Doesn't matter what you're doing, you'll be working different parts of your body. We've done a lot on hips, and we're not holding here for a long time today. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bringing your hands down to the mat, tucking the right toes under, lifting the right leg, giving yourself space to slide that left leg back, coming into your plank, and then taking your knees forward, sitting back on your heels, coming into balasana. So folding forward, taking your chest to your thighs, your forehead towards the mat, stretching your arms forward or bringing them down either side of your body. And then coming all the way up to sitting, bringing your legs around to the front, making sure you've got enough space, bringing your knees in, lifting your heels so that you've got a little bit of balance here. So we didn't do a lot of balance today. We did a lot with hips and lower back and shoulders and spine. So next week we'll work a little bit more on balance. For today, let's gently roll down or come to lying on the mat, however works best for you. Bring those knees in, give yourself a huge hug. Well done. Well done for giving yourself this space and this time and this lovely deep movement that we don't get during the rest of our day, unless we do another yoga session, of course. And taking your feet down to the mat, we're going to do a counter pose. We've had a lot of inversions and a lot of forward stuff. We're going to lift the hips, so a nice length of the hips. Think about your hip bones going up towards the ceiling, but we're not rounding in the back that much. We're pretty flat across the front of the body, hands down towards your heels, knees drawing in towards each other. That adds another little extra challenge. And now we're going to bring that rounding of the spine in. So lifting your hips, maybe sending your shoulders underneath you and lifting your sternum, lifting your belly, letting your hips be quite neutral here. Lovely counter pose, arching the spine. And release, breaking your shoulders out, taking your vertebrae down one by one, all the way down. Last to come down is the lower back, flattening your lower back into the floor, keeping your hips a little tilted. Suck your belly button down towards the mat and release. Allow your hips to soften and roll to wherever it is they want to go. Bring your knees into your chest. We're going to do one last twist to finish. So arms out in the T, Legs over to one side, doesn't matter which side. And your head over in the opposite direction. A lovely twist. Twist in the torso, twist in the spine, twist all the way up into your neck. And then let's turn the head towards the center again. Bring your knees back into center. And then knees come all the way over to the other side. Turning your head in the opposite direction. And head coming back to center. Knees coming back to center. Give yourself a hug. Nice big hug, huge hug. Squeeze your thighs into your chest. Wrap your arms around your shins. And then we are coming into Shavasana. So give yourself some space. Arrange yourself so that you're slightly starfish. Room between your arms and your body. Room between your feet. You've got lots of space there. Lengthen through your neck. Lengthen your arms and then drop them down. Lengthen your legs and then drop them down. Rock your hips from side to side. And the same with your shoulders, lifting your right shoulder and placing it down, lifting your left shoulder and placing it down. And then allowing everything to soften and relax. Closing your eyes. Keeping that lovely space that you've made, that internal space. You've made room, you've moved things around, you've allowed better flow, you've stretched, you've strengthened. Enjoying that feeling of quiet, good work with your asana practice today. So inhaling through your nostrils and exhaling how you wish, but making sure your exhale is complete. Inhaling deep and slow, filling up, drawing in light and warmth and energy, and as you exhale, making space. Feeling that expansiveness within, inhaling and exhaling at your own pace. With every in-breath, appreciating what you have, the amazing body you have that's allowed you to do all these things this morning. And with every out-breath, letting go of anything that you're holding on to or carrying that you no longer need. Breathing in, making space for the light and energy and warmth. Breathing out, letting go. Feeling a deep sense of peace and calm. Feeling completely supported by the floor, by the mat. Taking a deep in-breath. Gently coming to lie on your right side. Noticing how you're feeling. And adding on to that a deep sense of gratitude for being who you are, doing what you're doing. And then gently coming up to sitting, any way that works for you. Maybe cross-legged, maybe not. Bringing your hands to heart center in Namaste Mudra, pressing your right hand into your left into your right. Sitting up tall, taking the crown of your head one more time up towards the ceiling. And then rubbing your hands together. Really press them as well as rubbing them. So you get some warmth there, and cup them over your eyes just gently. When you're ready, taking an inhale and opening your eyes into that space. Taking an exhale and floating your hands back to heart center and namaste. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining you on the mat.